Hey guys, Grumpy here with episode 35 of our Zero to Hero Let's Play as Mercury Guy. So in the previous episode, we took on a Remnant Nexus. We demonstrated kind of like assessing the threat of the Remnant Nexus, how to do that for a ship, and then just designing like a really effective ship, or a really effective fleet to take on that kind of challenge. So we saw like the Dominators providing a lot of kinetic pressure, as well as using their EMPs to knock weapon systems offline. That allowed the rest of our fleet to really flourish. So, with that fight out of the way, we're going to move on to the final fight of this series. That being, well, I'm not going to spoil anything. You'll see it in a second. There is one more harder fight than this. I'm not going to do that fight. Not in this series. I'll probably record it and it'll just be published on the channel a little later. But as far as the series goes, here's where it ends. So we're gonna go ahead without further ado and jump into this fight. So it begins with finding one of these, a coronal hypershunt. Um, the they orbit a blue planet, but the blue planet planet they orbit a blue hypergiant. That's the only place you'll find them. But the hypergiant has a corona around it, so it's very difficult to get to it. What we're going to do is we're going to activate emergency burn, and then click on the coronal hypershunt, and our fleet will be able to fly into it, no problem. Alright, so here's a little bit of lore here. I'm not going to spoil anything as per the rest of the series. You can go ahead and read it, especially when you go do this fight. But what we have here are two unidentified vessels. It's interesting because if you press F1, you don't get any information from them, unlike any other ship in the game. Alright, so I'm fairly confident with the fleet that we have. We're going to go ahead and take on this fight. Well, you'll see. We'll go ahead and engage the automated defenses. And again, we'll continue. Alright, one of the challenges of this fight is that you get 240 deployment points, which is really narrow, all things considered. So you kind of have to be picky with what you choose. I'm going to bring the Dominators to the fight, though. This is fresh off the previous fight, so I didn't get a chance. For this fight, I probably wouldn't go with Gauss Cannons, because you don't really maintain a lot of range. But it should be okay. Does the Legion have a place in this fight? I don't think so. I'd rather have another Monitor. If one of our ships dies, we'll go ahead and replace it. But we'll do something like this. Yeah, we'll do something like this. Alright. How do we want to do this? Well, we probably want to transfer command over. What we want to do is we want our monitors to grab the attention of the two threats there, and we want the rest of our fleet to kind of hang out. We want our fleet to not really get involved in the fight, not yet. Alright. So, in case you haven't seen this fight before, these are what are called Tesseracts. Very scary ships, and you'll probably see why in a short while here. What I'm going to do is something that's very simple. It's going to be divide and conquer. I'm going to cancel this order. I'm going to make sure these ships are over here. And what we're going to do is, hopefully we're going to be able to separate these Tesseracts. I'll jump in one of my ships so you don't see the monitor's perspective again. But basically we're going to take this Tesseract on a joyride over here. And then all of my ships are going to focus on this one. Fighting them side by side is possible, but it's very, very difficult to do. They are very strong ships. So let's go ahead and see if we can separate them. Alright. As you see, like, our monitor has no problem. Yikes. Our monitor has no problem shrugging off the majority of conventional weapons. in the game, but as you see there, easily, like it even caught this monitor by surprise. Easily overwhelmed that ship. Anyway, now that there's some distance between the two and we have this one's attention, hopefully these ships are close enough that they can grab the Tesseract's attention. And it doesn't regroup with this one. Otherwise, this will prove a little more difficult. I don't know if the engage order, eliminate order is appropriate here. Engage might do a little better. Anyway, let's see how this shakes out. Hopefully we can separate the two. We're just going to make sure that we keep pulling it to the side here. Yes, yes, it looks like that was successful. We are able to separate the two. All right. And I know this is, well, for some, I assume that this is kind of boring to watch. But it is, unfortunately, like the most effective way to do these kinds of fights. Just being in the monitor. This being Iron Man, I don't really want to take too many chances. Alright, we are sufficiently far enough away that I hope that the AI doesn't fail us here. Like if I leave this ship, I just hope that the AI doesn't bring this Tesseract back into the fight. We're gonna go all the way to the corner, like all the way to the corner, and then leave the ship, and we'll probably jump in one of these, maybe one of these Dominators over here. All right, but we really just want to make sure that these ships do not join the fight. We'll periodically check the tactical map and just make sure that they don't come near us. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll change this to the harass command. We'll assign both to that, and hopefully that's enough to keep them separated. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and jump into one of our dominators here, and we'll see if we can flank it. The Tesseract is really smart in that it'll bounce around your fleet, but hopefully if we can, provide opposition to it, it'll kind of either be forced to engage us or, turn its flank to us. Alright, Godspeed, monitor. Okay, cool. Alright, let's get in on the action down here. Alright, so there's a lot going on here. You guys are doing wonderful. There's a lot going on here. What I'm going to do is I am going to assign I'm going to assign one Paragon to deal with this shard, as well as being supplemented by a Dominator. The other Paragon can, freely pick its own targets. I myself am going to focus on this small shard here, and I'm going to get this Dominator to work on this small shard as well. Alright, I'm going to put the pylons on auto fire. Oh. Okay. That was nice. Okay. Now we do have to be careful here. Make sure that we don't overwhelm ourselves. Alright. We can't really fire our Gauss cannons. Alright. This is not where we want to be. Once we gain control of our ship, we'll go ahead and hide between the paragons here. All right. Okay. It's a little difficult to pilot the Dominator. It is essentially a floating brick. Let's check up on the monitors. They're doing fantastic. Wonderful. This shard is giving the Dominators a bit of a chase. But because we have pylums, the pylums do a better job keeping up with these smaller targets. All right. All right. So everything is good to go here. Hold on. There's a key to show and hide weapon systems. Map and command UI. Oh, yeah. It's the tilde key. Okay, there we go. I couldn't see the arcs. Okay, what we're not gonna do is let our fleet kind of wander off here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have everybody rally. We're gonna have everybody rally near our reinforcement zone, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this Tesseract down to us using the monitors. We'll probably pilot one monitor. And then in this way, in case we do lose any ships, like my Dominator is probably gonna go pretty soon, we can reinforce right on top of the Tesseract. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and bring everybody to the spot. We are going to transfer command back over to the monitor, and then we're gonna bring it down towards us. The benefit of also rallying our ships is that they'll be able to catch these little fighters out. Okay. You're a brave little monitor. Alright. We will tell this monitor to come down this way, and we'll have a rendezvous with the rest of our fleet. Okay. If we can, we want it to waste its special ability, which is Temporal Rift, which allows it to attack faster and move faster. It is on a relatively short cooldown, so don't expect to, eliminate it entirely, but, it is somewhat effective if you can get it to use it up before it's gone. Alright. Use it before the rest of your fleet engages it, I should say. Alright. Let's go ahead and bring it closer to us. And what we really want to do is we want to get our fleet on its flank. That would be really nice. I don't know if that's possible, but if we can cut it off from escaping, then when it breaks into its like shards and stuff, it's a lot less maneuverable and it's easier for our fleet to deal with it. So we can go ahead and remove this order. And we want to drag it just a little bit closer if we can. Right into the maw. Okay, let's Swap out. Okay, perfect. Now we want to spring our trap, and we want everybody to go ahead and eliminate it. I'm gonna see if I can turn it around here. It is very fast and maneuverable. All right, that's fine. If we can turn it around though, that would be perfect. I'm gonna get my monitor to go ahead and join that fight, and we're gonna keep. Yeah, we're gonna keep going to see if we can surround it like that. All right, nice. So now it's on the board of the map. It can't go anywhere, and it's flanked on both sides by monitors, so it can't really do any damage. Now we're just waiting on the rest of our fleet to uh to go ahead and move in, and that should be all she wrote on this fight. The Dominator over here being a lot being a little overzealous is a bit of a problem. It's probably gonna get his face torn off, but should be okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. I've never seen that before. The Tesseract said nobody puts baby in the corner and meant it. Alright, let's see if we can prevent. Ah, wow. Okay. um, Interesting. Let's see if we can at least just convince it to come back. Get the monitor to fall back. Oh, we're out of command points. Alright. Let's see if we can face it towards us. Nice. Yeah, it really didn't like being hemmed in there on the side, I see. That's fine. Now that we have some command points, I'm just gonna tell my monitor to go behind the rest of my fleet, because what'll happen is we'll just end up chasing it away. Alright. But what we do want to do is we want to make sure that it's facing us with all of its armaments and not the rest of our fleet, because those weapons are very dangerous. Oh boy. Suffering malfunctions due to low combat readiness. I've never left this fight. I don't know what happens actually. I mean, if we lose the monitors, we lose the monitors. The rest of our fleet is more than capable to take on this fight. Alright. We can cut the yakety sax, the Benny Hill music. We now have the positioning that we want, where our fleet is behind the ship, and it should be a lot easier to contain it. Okay, things I would change is I would bring EMP weaponry on the monitor so we can stop its engines. All right. All right, I'm gonna fly into the center of our fleet and see what happens. I'm gonna get you to fly over here as well. Alright, we do a lot of EMP damage, so we should be able to knock its engines offline after we line up a couple of shots. If we lose the Dominator, so be it. I'm just really upset at this point. Okay, cool. If it calls the Dominator, it calls the Dominator. I just want to move on to the next part of this fight. We'll go ahead and deploy an Aurora. And here you see the benefit of bringing it to our side of the battlefields, whereas now our ships, when they join the fight, they don't have to go nearly as far. We can go ahead and cancel that. Alright. And this should be down for the count. Okay, cool. And then it'll split. We'll drag the parts towards our fleet so they don't scatter. We're also going to bump this Dominator out of the way. We're going to go ahead and nudge it there. And we'll let the rest of our fleet take care of this. Okay. The Auroras are very fast, so they should be able to provide the much needed mobility we need for this fight. Our monitor is about to go. Okay, well, I didn't mean this monitor. I meant our monitor. But that's fine. Once it's destroyed, it'll just free up more deployment points for the rest of our fleet. Okay, this Aurora being bullied is not good. Alright, our combat readiness is 3%, but at the very least we can grab the shards' attention. Okay. Alright, we'll bring in another Aurora and then that should be the end of this fight. We'll put the ion pulsers on auto fire, and then we'll sit on the sabos. And then we'll just hang out near the Paragon. And then what's left? Just a single shard. Okay. This fight went on way longer than it should have, but we got the job done. Or what's left? It's just little fighters. Okay. Yeah, the burst PD of the Paragons will make short work of those fighters. Is it really gonna make me chase down the last one? Sure. At this point, sure. That's fine. Alright. So a very challenging, very difficult fight, but again, we used our fleet to the best of its ability. Dividing and conquering, separating the Tesseracts so they couldn't, support each other, and then just letting the fleet surround the Tesseract and really restrict its mobility is what the fight came down to. We did lose a couple of ships in the fight. One was just the AI lost a ship. The other one was we just essentially ran a monitor into the ground. Losing this Dominator is just the cost of doing business. I think that's acceptable. Um, Typically, you're going to lose a lot more ships than that in this fight. Anyway, we aren't punished. We get to recover all of our ships, which is fantastic. We can pick through the wreckage here, and we get a beautiful, beautiful suite of exotic weapons. These are really fun to play with. We saw a couple of these when we did the Ziggurat fight, so definitely incorporate these into some of your builds. A lot of fun. All right. Okay, we get a nice little bit of text, and then you get provided a prompt that says if you bring 1,000 crew, 20,000 metals, and 5,000 transmutonics, you have to bring them all at once, which I don't really like. But if you bring all those at once, you'll be able to repair the coronal hypershunt, which provides your colonies with significant bonuses. Um, I I hope moving forward that the developers change this so that you can drop off the resources in part. But as it is now, you need about 6 atlases, 6 or 7 atlases, along with a lot of character perks, in order to carry enough supply to build this. But anyway, that was the Tesseract fight. That was the Hypershunt fight. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Um, this is pretty much the conclusion of the series. Mercury Guy has gone from a absolute zero, 1 ship to his name, or well, 2 ships to his name, a wolf and a shepherd, and has grown to become one of the strongest captains in the. I'm gonna pause it so we don't get snuck up on. In the Persian sector. The final episode will just be a summary, going over the colonies, how to grow and develop the colonies, and then look at how you would set up a fleet, I guess for farming or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what else is going to go into the final episode, but that was the final fight of the series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I've had a ton of fun recording this. I'm glad to see the end of the series through. I was afraid that at one point that the series wouldn't end. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. The next episode will go up relatively quickly. It won't be a long stretch, and then we will do something new on the channel. But other than that, Grumpy out.